So I think it's reasonable to ask, how do you end or prevent a filibuster, at least in theory? And I want you to notice that I keep saying in theory because, well, I'll explain in a second. So in terms of the rules, the way that you end or prevent a filibuster is by doing something called invoking closure. Invoking closure, a fancy way of saying ending debate. So how do you go ahead and end debate? How do you invoke closure in the United States Senate? Well, you have to get 60 people to sign what's called the closure petition. A closure petition is basically a petition that says we're going to end debate. So really it's, if you're the sponsor of a bill like Phil's Corn Law, it would be me and 59 other senators. So do you remember before I said that if you have 60 members in the majority party, you can basically do whatever you want. You can control the Senate the way the majority party can control the House. It's more time consuming, as you'll see, because the minority party can still sort of stretch things out, but you can always get to a vote if you have 60 members in the Senate. The thing is, that just never happens, or not never happens, it very rarely happens. So let's talk about this closure petition. You need 60 signatures. So what happens if you get 60 signatures? That is, I said before that there are two instances in which you could interrupt somebody who is filibustering. One was the speaker themselves can allow someone else to interrupt to ask a really long question. The other time you can interrupt somebody who's speaking is to go ahead and hand the presiding officer a closure petition. So what is it? That means you've got the 60 signatures, and the 60 signatures basically say, let's stop this madness, okay? If you get 60 signatures, what that means is at the point at which you give the presiding officer the closure petition, debate will be limited to 30 more hours. Now, I know you might be thinking like, Phil, I thought you said it ended debate. It ends debate sort of in Senate time, and everything happens slowly in the Senate. So if I go ahead and hand a closure petition to the presiding officer, that means that for 30 hours, the minority party can still filibuster and do whatever they want to do. But at the end of those 30 hours, there's going to be a vote. Period. There's going to be a vote. And when closure is invoked, no other matters can be addressed. So what somebody can't do is, like, let's say closure is invoked and 5 hours have gone by and somebody else wants to talk about a different bill. Can't do it. Either 30 hours, it's got to be spent just on that bill, whatever bill closure is invoked for. That's the only thing that can be done. So no other matters can be addressed. After the 30 hours, there's going to be a vote. Here's one more thing about invoking closure. Once closure is invoked, all amendments have to be germane. Germane is just like a fancy legal word for relevant. So I have to step back and explain something. In the House of Representatives, if somebody proposes a bill like Phil's Corn Law, and we're in the process of debating Phil's Corn Law on the floor of the House of Representatives, if somebody wants to propose an amendment to my bill, they want to add something to it, they want to put in a new provision, the amendment has to be germane, meaning it has to be relevant to the bill, to the underlying bill. It has to have something to do with Phil's Corn Law. In the Senate, people can add amendments to bills that have nothing to do with the bill being debated. If we're debating Phil's Corn Law and closure has not been invoked, but we're debating Phil's corn law, and somebody wants to propose an amendment to raise the minimum wage, they can do that. They can propose amendments having nothing to do with Phil's corn law. In the Senate, amendments don't have to be germane, which can be crazy making. But once closure is invoked, any amendments have to be germane. They have to be relevant. So these are the three things that happen once a closure petition is submitted. Once the 60 signatures have been got on the petition, it means that from the point at which the presiding officer gets the petition, there's only going to be 30 or more hours of debate. No other matters can be addressed, and any proposed amendments that happen during that time must be germane. So, how does this all play out? What does this mean? What it means is that in order for a bill to pass, you basically need 60 votes. You need 60 votes because otherwise, if people are really opposed to it, they're going to filibuster. And that's going to force you to compromise. So let's think about the way this works. If I know that my bill is going to come to the floor, and I see that it's being filibustered, or I get the idea that it's going to be filibustered. I know 55 people support the bill, 45 people oppose the bill. What do I have to do? Well, I'm going to have to go talk to people who oppose the bill. So let's say I go talk to one senator, and I say, like, what's your problem with my bill? And they say, well, I don't like this provision. I don't like this. I don't like that. And I want to add this. I'm like, okay, wait. Okay, that's fine. So if I make those changes to the bill, you'll go ahead and sign the closure petition? And they're like, yeah, absolutely. I'm like, okay, cool. So I make the changes to the bill. And now I've got 56 people who are supporting my bill and 44 who are opposing it. Can I bring my bill to the floor yet? No, because they can still filibuster it. So now I go to another senator and I do the same thing. Hey, look, I really want to get this bill passed. How can I get your support? They may say, you got to take this provision out. This provision my constituents will never go for. Get rid of that and I'm on board. I'm like, okay, I really like that provision, but I want to get some version of Phil's corn law passed. Okay, that's fine. Now, 57% people support it, 43 oppose it. Now I go and I have to negotiate with somebody else. The bill's changed quite a bit, but now I've got to go negotiate with somebody else because I only got 57 votes and I need 60. Not to pass the bill. I can pass the bill with 55 votes. I can't get to a vote unless I got 60 people who are willing to end debate. And so I negotiate with another senator. And now, let's say I make some more changes to the bill. Now that senator's like, I'm on board. That's fine. Now I got 58 people who support my bill, 42 who oppose it. But I still can't bring my bill to the floor because the 42 who oppose it are going to be able to filibuster. I go to one more senator, and now I'm able to negotiate that. Now, all the while, you got to think about this. I'm making all these changes to the bill, and the thing that I have to worry about is that somebody who used to support the bill, now that I've made all their changes, they're like, I can't support this bill anymore, and they might drop off. But let's say I go ahead and I get 59 now support the bill, 41 oppose the bill. Can I bring my bill to the floor now? No, it can still be filibustered. Those 41 senators who oppose my bill, if they're willing to filibuster, can prevent my bill from ever getting voted on by filibustering. And remember, they can all filibuster once, and they can all filibuster a second time. And there are going to be a bunch of senators who are waiting in line wanting to get their bills discussed and debated. And they're not going to have an opportunity to because my bill is taking up all this time. All through this, I've been saying this is how the filibusters happen in theory. When I was talking about invoking closure, I was saying this is how you end or prevent filibusters in theory. Now, the reason I kept saying in theory is because filibusters don't happen. And I will explain why in the next video.